Hi, I'm Scott, and this is Scott's View on Games. This episode, or video, I'm going to be talking about Always Online DRM, and specifically SimCity 5 and its failure to implement Always Online DRM properly, basically. Now, I am all for companies having the right to protect their property and IPs. They definitely have that right to do so. With pirating, they want to maximize profit and minimize loss, basically. However, I have very strong feelings towards online DRM. I think it's a bad idea. SimCity 5 is a great example of why it's a bad idea, and I'm glad that Ubisoft has kind of moved away from that because they realized that they were losing more fans to pirating because of always online DRM. Now, right off the bat, problem with always online DRM is that you punish actual purchasers and consumers of the game because they have trouble. They might have a great internet connection, or they have trouble logging on, and it drives them away. And I think SimCity 5 is a good example of this. With their server load issues the first week, not a lot of people wanted to get the game. I was one of those people who I didn't like Origin to start with just because of I already have Steam. I didn't feel the need to get a second digital distributing program, basically. And EA didn't really have a lot of games that totally brought me to Origin. Like, I wasn't like, I need to get Origin because I need to get this game. Now, SimCity 5 could have been one of those games. I love the SimCity series. I thought SimCity 5 looked really good, even with people who are doing videos where they show actual gameplay and everything. I really enjoy watching them. I think it's a really neat game. The way the city kind of, you can specialize it grows. There are some pathfinding problems with traffic, and then emergency issues with, like the fire trucks all get sent out once. However, I think people who play it really like it because of its ease of zoning. It makes it a little bit simpler to kind of understand exactly what you're doing, as opposed to SimCity 4. I felt as though there was this big disconnect from under how do I make money, basically. At least I had trouble with it. Now, the problem was that this always online servers really, really drove a lot of people away, and they have no excuse for having not enough servers, none. And the reason is because, when WoW came out, all right, WoW had server issues when it first came out, but Blizzard got a pass on that one because they didn't. It was their first time doing an MMO, and they had no idea how popular it was going to be. Absolutely none. Like, they totally underestimated how many people like it. All right, fine. Your first time in an MMO, the first MMO that got that big, that fast. Like, that's kind of excusable. But, the problem was they had server issues for a while, but, they finally were able to work them out. And then Blizzard came out with Diablo 3, and they had server issues with that. And I got burned from Diablo 3 because I bought it, and I couldn't play it first day. Then I played it, and I beat the whole game, and I went to play through the next difficulty level, and I got bored quick. But other than that, like, dealing with these server issues every time I try to log on was just obnoxious. I was like, I can't. Like, I just don't. It's uninstalled. I haven't reinstalled it. One of the reasons I got hacked, and I ordered an authentication key, and they never sent it to me. So I was like, well, obviously, I don't care. Like, I don't want to have to deal with this. It's fun, but it's not that fun where I'm going to put a lot of effort into actually getting into the game. So EA knew that there was going to be server problems. Maybe they didn't know, but you should expect that a game with that popular of a series, is going to have a lot of people who want to play it, and they had so few servers up. It was ridiculous. Like, you're watching this unfold, and it's like what is your excuse for this? Like, oh, we totally underestimated. Like, how do you do that? I can't fathom a company going, no, we're not going to get that many people who love this game. Even though there was so much hype for it, it's such a hard marketing campaign. I would, for those type of games, I would go, above and beyond how many servers you think you're going to need, and just scale it down, basically, or try and get more servers than you're going to need, as opposed to underestimate. I'd rather overestimate. And because they didn't do that, they lost a sizable player base because they got driven away by the server issues. People who didn't pre-order the game or didn't buy it day one, like we saw it happening. We're like, whoa, okay, I'm glad I didn't buy this game. the problem with always online is that like I can't I can't justify it. Like I can't think of a reason to justify it. And especially with like a game like Diablo 3, where all the Diablo series had this great offline mode, and they had introduced multiplayer mode. Diablo 3 could have done the same thing, and for some reason they chose not to, and the game just sucked. I mean, like it was just I didn't get like because I played single player almost the entire game, and I was like I don't understand why this isn't single player. Like why can't I play this offline? Like I don't understand it. Like it doesn't make any sense to me because I didn't play with people. I just wanted to experience the game. I didn't want to like try and find a game and get stuck with a bunch of jerks and stuff. Like I just didn't want to deal with that. I just wanted to like just play my game, and if I had some friends, I'd play with them. But for the most part, I beat the game solo. And in SimCity, they try and like come up with reasons for it, and it's a little like some of them are like, well, it's kind of justifiable, but at the same time, I think you could have found a way around that client side. And they have, well, like the big one is region trading. Like I get like in interconnected cities and stuff, like with players and stuff. All right, always online, but I should be allowed to make an offline private region. Like that should just be something I can do, and never, just have all my cities be my cities and just have them trade between my cities. I get anytime it's a public thing, always have it online. I get that, but private ones that don't have, you can set like private offline, so only you can go on and it blows my mind that companies are still doing this when there's been such backlash against companies like Ubisoft who tried doing it. But thankfully Ubisoft went back on it. The justification for EA, though, is that it's such a huge company. They have so many smaller companies that, and SimCity 5 sold so well when it first, pre-orders and first day sales that they can justify it because they still made a profit on it. Like, that's the thing, like, oh, they can't do it. Like, would you buy the game? Well, yeah, I bought the game, let's do it. Well, that's your problem. Like, you can say as much as you want on the internet about how stupid it is and how bad it is, but if people are still paying money for the game, the company has no reason to change how they do things. Like, none. Because they're still making a profit. Until they start losing money from it, they're not going to change always online DRM. And that's just the simple truth of the matter. Just the EA's goal is profit margins. They're not there to make these amazing new games like some indie game companies are, and smaller game companies and some of the other game companies. Their goal is to maximize profit. It's their developers' job to make these amazing games. And EA is a whole other story about just killing off good developers because of their profit-driven goals. And it sucks, but it's just the industry, and I think at some point EA is going to stop doing that just because they realize what's happening. Whether or not it's sooner or later, it's hard to say. I think SimCity 5 is a great game. I think just these server issues have plagued it, and I definitely think it should have lost scores for it. Not, if you're going to have always online DRM and you have to be connected online and your servers can't handle the load, people can't play the game, and the game is not as good as it could be. That's just a simple fact of things. And, I mean, you get every Diablo 3 and SimCity 5, you had, these diehard fans coming out defending it, and, they have a right to defend it, and I have a right to be against it, basically. And just, what are you going to do? Like, that's just, it's definitely, it's a touchy subject, I think. I mean, I definitely agree with DRM. I definitely think companies have the right to defend their IPs. I just think always online, for the most part, is a bad idea. I haven't seen a company do it well for a game that you can go off, that should be an offline game. Like, obviously, MMOs, like, okay, yeah, that has to always be online, but a game like Diablo 3 and SimCity 5, really, you could have had an offline mode, and multiplayer mode, and you could have gone away with not having always online DRM, and and the thing is, like, these SimCity fans are like, well, you can't crack it because a lot of the simulation service side, and just people are like, they're gonna crack it. Like, someone's gonna figure out a way to do it. It's gonna take longer, sure, but we'll do it. Like, that's just how pirates work. Like, they're just gonna figure it out eventually, and that's why always on DRM, you're not really protecting your IP as well as you think you are. You're damaging more than you are protecting it. But I mean, when I see the game that does always online DRM really well and can justify it for a game that could be single player offline, I will come out and go, this game right here, this game did it well. Like this game has it figured out. They had great servers up for the launch. They can justify it well. Yeah, it makes sense. It's not a hassle. But SimCity 5 did not do that for me, and I don't think EA will ever do it for me. And I know, like, I'm a graduate student, and I don't want to speak bad about any company. And I think EA does have its great games that it comes out with. I just think it's botched the SimCity 5 release, and I think its DRM policies are not the best. So, well, join me next time when I figure something else to talk about that I feel like talking about.